Welcome and welcome back. It is the last pay-per-view of the year and we're in for a good one, folks. This one is gonna be fabulous. We have a lot of incredible matchups to describe and to get excited about. Let's give UFC 323 the old dynamic breakdown. So much fun, so much talent, and only 2 fight cards left this year. We are back, of course, at the T-Mobile Arena. You can't go wrong, right? The fighting capital of the world, some might say, in Las Vegas. We got 2 belts on the line, and interestingly enough, it's 2 of our most dominant UFC champions. One of these fights is a rematch, and one of them is all about that young blood. And together, our main card is kind of a fly banana bonanza, Bantam banana bonanza, you know what I mean? A lot of flyweight and bantamweight fights to get excited about. The main card is just stacked with drama in that sense. We got legacies on the line. Vittori on the early prelims. I mean, what the? That's how stacked this card is that somehow we have Marvin Vittori relegated to the early prelims. That's weird. That's weird. Can I get a that's weird? Yes. And as mentioned, last pay-per-view of the year. And I think we should just change the rules and give everybody a bonus, right? Happy holidays. We welcome the early prelims into our early lives. First up, we have a featherweight matchup between Muhammad Naimov and Marion Santos. We're starting out with such great fun with the Hillman. He is very switchy. He may have lost his Dana White's Contender Series appearance and had to claw his way back, but he's here and he has been doing really well, 5-1. Since joining the UFC, and he made his UFC debut on 4 days' notice, so he has made good with that. He has made good with that for sure. Right now, coming off of a decision win against Grad, pretty fabulous, and he's never been knocked out, and he definitely brings that mentality into the cage. I mean, he's ready to go, only been subbed once. The rest of his 2 losses out of the 3 are via decision, so he's ready for war, and he is on a 2-fight win streak right now, so we're getting some momentum. The thing to watch out with Muhammad is that leg power. Because he's a little switchy itchy, when he's getting a little itchy for the switchy, he's going to get a little leg yeggy, as many of the switchies do. So you got to look out for that because it's some scary stuff, and it's all happening with that lateral movement. And when you watch him, you kind of think to yourself, that reminds me of somebody. Might it be Corey Sandhagen? Well, if you've ever thought that, you're correct, because he is a Corey Sandhagen fan, admittedly so, and you know how Corey Sandhagen is with that switchy, and Muhammad Naimov is always studying, and Corey Sandhagen is one of the people who he studies. He's got a lot of really good vibes, I would say. It seems like a really deep soul. And he is going against rising star Marion Santos, who has but 1 loss on his record. It's crazy that he's 16-1, and he is 25 years old, the legend. Fun nickname. Marion Santos is undefeated in the UFC. He joined after winning TUF, or I guess through TUF more correctly. So yeah, he won TUF at the end of the year, and this is going to be his 3rd fight of 2025. So he's been super active, been getting a lot of bookings. You know how it is. Not everybody who wants to get booked gets booked. So a little bit of luck involved there, but it's great to see the activity. Coming off of probably his biggest win to date, which is Sadiq Youssef. That was some pretty crazy stuff. Looking really good. He's on a 6-fight win streak. Again, 3rd fight of this year. Could that make him Rookie of the Year 2025, depending on how it goes, right? He's been looking great. He's never been to subland at all, and so most of his opponents, if they have some ground game, they're going to probably want to get him there because he is a striking's McGee. And his lone loss is via TKO in round 3 back in 2022. When it comes to Marion, he's preferring the knockout or the decision. He's got a 50-50 split. He is very strong in the striking. This will be a really fun way to start it out. Both these guys are going to get scrappy with it. Looking to see some crazy leg power from Naimov. That's his thing. Going to get switchy with it. I suspect in general this will be a lot on the feet, but Muhammad maybe going to mix it up a bit, depending on how it's going for Marion, because he does have a lot of success in the striking, but it's going to be a leggy one, I suspect. Then we have a middleweight match with Mansour Abdul Malik and Antonio Tricoli. Mansour is 27 years old, but he is already a philosopher. The philosopher could be his nickname. He just has a lot of philosophical energy. He was an army brat, had growing up with 9 other siblings, you know how it is. He wanted to be a ninja very early on in his life and started wrestling when he got to high school. He was 3-0, but he is coming off of a very strange fight with Cody Brundage. If you recall, there was a pretty nasty clash of heads, accidental, of course, and then that led to them putting a pause on the fight. It was a very strange moment. The ref decided to send it to the scorecards, right, rather than actually calling it a TKO or a no contest. We sent it to the scorecard, so they totaled up what they had. And at the time, Mansour got the win, but apparently the Georgia Athletic Entertainment Commission doesn't allow that. They ultimately overturned this fight because apparently they don't do going to the scorecard. They don't score an unfinished round. Really interesting stuff. So Cody, I guess, sent an appeal. Fight was then overturned, and so now it's a draw. Which is, I think that makes sense. I mean, it was a headbutt that ultimately did Cody in. So wondering if you have thoughts on that. But all that aside, Mansour is definitely a hot prospect. He's definitely somebody to keep our eyes on. He says that he's feeling like he's graduated from freshman to sophomore. I like that mentality. So it's, he's still staying humble about it, right? He's got things to learn. It's pretty fun. He's definitely shined under the lights as far as crowd energy. Looks very, very good and confident there. He's a finisher, 88% of his wins via knockout, but he can't get too hunty about it, right? He's got to adjust. Those are his words. He says he thrives off chaos, though, so learning how to balance that chaos. And he says that if it isn't given to him, that he wants to create it. He's all about being a gentleman in real life, but not in that cage, okay? It's activity, getting mean, and he's currently learning like a sponge. He's all about that internal dialogue, and he studies fights like it's the only thing that he knows how to do. But don't ask him about other sports. He's also a huge middleweight, and it's kind of a miracle that he cuts that. So I wonder if as he ages that he will still be able to do that. I think it's the wrestler in him that's able to make that weight because he looks so big. And he's going against Antonio Tricoli Valdovo, who is very tall. Talk about big middleweight. He is 6'6". It's crazy stuff. Hey, happy birthday, right? Happy birthday, Antonio. Yeah, because his birthday's in a couple of days. So shout out to the Muay Thai guy. That's his background. We had a Dana White's Contender Series no contest. That's weird. Okay, and now we're 0-2 because sometimes you get matched up against Shara Bullet and Tresean Gore to start off your UFC career, and hey, that's a tough way to start, especially a Tresean Gore coming out of a almost 2 year long injury layoff. He was hungry. He was hungry. He was ready to go. Yeah, so we still have things to learn about Antonio, who's looking for his first UFC win, and he's a very, very well-rounded mixed martial artist. He's got wins all over, pretty evenly split. This will be really interesting. Mansour coming off of a strange fight that he was looking pretty good in. Just an unfortunate turn of events. Still carving his pathway in the UFC. Antonio, same thing, just in very different positions. I mean, Antonio coming off of 2 losses, so I'm sure he's going to be really hungry looking for the win, but at the same time could be pretty cautious about it given the finish. So his fight, against Tresean Gore, he was kind of tricked into a standing gilly, and then against Shara Bullet hit with that right hook, I think it was. So maybe he'll be overly cautious. Maybe he will. Will be interesting to see because Mansour, I don't think, will be cautious at all. So either way, I think we will get some crazy things happening. We'll get some crazy tangle ups. I expect the pace to be pacing because Mansour brings that chaos. And I never want anybody to lose. I want everybody to win, but 3 losses in a row could be pretty devastating for Antonio. So this could be it, right? This could be his last moment to make a case for himself. Eyes on it. Then we have a light heavyweight matchup between Owo Baranuski and Ivo Aslan. Ivo is Rudy. That's a cool nickname. He is of a judo background. He will be making his UFC debut after a Dana White's Contender Series appearance. Happy belated birthday. It's kind of been a little time since then, but hey, happy belated. He's on a 16-fight win streak, so he has not tasted defeat in a long time. It's been a long, long time. He is a 100% rate finisher, so 67% of the wins via knockout. The rest, 33%, is via submission, so looking to get it done. And looking to get it done in a snap. And he has met somebody with a very similar mentality. Ebo, the last Ottoman, Aslan, also Dana White's Contender Series. He has been in the UFC for just a little bit. He's 3-1. Right now, he's coming off of a TKO win over Billy Elikana. Ouchie, ouchie, ouchie. This guy is very strong. He was supposed to fight Junior or Justin Taffa. Oh my god, which one? One of the Taffas. That got scrapped, but luckily we got him booked before the end of the year. I'm sure he was pretty happy about that he didn't have to wait till 2026 to get another fight in. His only loss in the UFC is to Kutilaba, and that was a crazy fight, even though it only was one round. It was crazy. Everything got crazy in there. Both of them were absolutely swinging wild to the fences. Kutilaba, all this type action. What were we doing? It was so great. And Kutilaba hit Ebo with something that really rocked him, and then at that point he kind of sprang on him, took him to the ground, battered him up a little bit more, and kind of snuck him away into an arm triangle. So that was pretty crazy, pretty crazy, and that is Ebo's first UFC loss. So it's interesting to see what his mentality will be. Is he going to pull back a little bit? Because we were all gas, no brakes, which is usually just how he does it. Usually it works. He's a finisher, 100% of his wins are via knockout. Watch that right hand. He could stun you with the jab. That's the thing about Ebo, though. He is very, very strong. That jab has a lot of power even, and his only losses are via submission, interestingly. So decisions just don't exist for him. Like we said, comes out swinging. He's a mechanic, and he's also a horse guy. Given our numbers, this one is likely to not make its way to the scorecards. No. We have two finishers. Ebo Aslan, he's 100% knockout. He's knockout world. It's all he knows. He lives and breathes it. That's why we love him. And what's crazy is that he has faced multiple people now in their debut, which makes sense, right? He's in the beginning of his UFC career, but he is still that's a devastating debut. That's so scary. But Ebo, same thing. Young and hungry, and has also 100% finish rate, but he's got a little subby in his back pocket, so maybe he'll try to throw that in there. I expect this one to be cuckoo crazy, because Ebo Aslan, he's cuckoo crazy about it, and we'll be excited to see Ebo make his UFC debut. This one should be a finish, right? Then we have a super exciting lightweight matchup between Edson Barbosa and Jalen Turner. Edson Barbosa, he is such a classic. We love Edson Jr. He's always junior, even though he's veteran now. He's graduated from his junior status, but he's junior forever. He's switchy, you know how it is. He's got a BJJ foundation, but as we've observed, it primarily serves as offense, and there has been some times when he has gotten a little bit pressured on the ground, and he definitely shines on the feet, and for a while really carried a reputation of being one of the leg kicking pioneers. Right now, leg kicks are kind of an everyday staple, but this guy over here, he really started that trend with the devastating kicks, attacking the calf kicks, and in general his legs are legendary, right? He's got some legendary legs. Right now he is coming off of a decision loss to Jakar. Close. That was a pretty fun fight. It was pretty close. It was a close fight. It seemed like Edson didn't land as hard, and he was just barely behind in the significant strikes, but that was a great fight. Close had us clinched up. That was the other thing too. Clinched us up and landed just a little bit more in there, but it was still a fun fight. That was a good one. The thing about Edson is he's always going to put on a good show, right? He's got 13 performance bonuses. What in the world? He is an absolute legend. 50% of his wins come from knockout because he's very, very strong, miraculously strong, super scary in there. You can kind of get the sense when you watch him that he likes it. He loves it in there. He's having fun with it. And he also loves football. Hey, so he's got other hobbies. And he'll be going against Jalen Turner, the tarantula. And he says, don't bring up the spider, don't bring up the spider. It's kind of hard not to. Bring this up. Yep, spider at the weigh-ins. Love that. Love spiders, love tarantulas. They're pretty good pets. They're nice. Jalen Turner, southpaw, switchy, super tall, 6'3". He is 7-6 in the UFC, has faced some pretty intense competition. Right now, he's 6'3", and who else is 6'3"? Ignacio Bahamondes, which right now, he is coming off of a sub-loss, too. That was a pretty crazy sequence. We got started early, scrappy-dappy. Jalen was really hitting. Bahamondes a little bit more on the defense. We found ourselves with Jalen on top. He's not much of a grappler, so it was already looking a little. We were already in Jalen's corner yelling at him, to slow down, like you're winning. Just take it slow. Bahamondes still pressing up on the offense, hitting him with a couple up elbows. Why not double it up? Again, that doesn't happen. But, you get the visual. So Bahamondes, staying on the offense on the back, and then was able to kind of sneak him into a little arm triangle and actually handed Jalen Turner his first sub-loss with that fight. Ooh, two of the tallest active lightweights who are known for their kicking and for their striking ended up in a little bit of a grappling exchange. Round one ended quite quickly there. Not exactly how I expected that fight to go. Pretty cool nonetheless. But Jalen's in a bit of a tricky spot because of that, 2-fight losing streak. We got to get a little bit of momentum back, right? He's a first-round finisher, 11 of those, and he's a finisher in general, 100% of his wins, so he's never won a decision professionally. Pretty cool stuff. He gets it done, a lot of front kicks, super clinchy, and he is just big, long, strong, crazy that he makes the weight. Performance of the night type. He's also really into skateboarding. Yeah, spiders and skateboarding. Double S. This will be really fun. I suspect that we're going to get an all-out striking war, and, maybe I'll be wrong twice, but I have a feeling this one's going to be leggy. Going to be Legville. We have two guys who have a pretty strong leg reputation, and I suspect they're going to give us a very fun, leggy performance. Should be violent, should sound like baseball bats hitting against trees, because we got toughness and grit for both of these gentlemen. Very, very excited for this fight. Jalen Turner, he's not quite a veteran, but he is definitely established. And Edson Barboza, always a classic. This should be a really fun fight. And I think both guys are a really great match for each other. Just stylistically, it's going to be crazy and gritty. And for our featured early prelim, we got Bruno Ferreira versus Marvin Vettori. Holding on to that number 14 spot, it's on the line. Marvin Vettori, he is so classic. The Italian dream. He is the Italian dream, isn't he? He's been in the UFC since 2016, and he, again, has fought some pretty crazy competition, 9-7-1. Right now, speaking of crazy competition, coming off of a decision loss to Brandon Allen, and that fight was, close in a sense, even though it was a definitive win for Allen. Marvin showed how tough of a guy he is. I mean, golly. Very early in that fight, his nose was broken and he was not deterred. That's one of the things we love about him, is he is never deterred. He's got that fighting spirit, and he has proven that time and time again. And you know what else he's proven is that he's got some major cardio. He expends so much energy. Like, he is just, but he's got it. The tank is endless. The forward pressure never stops. He's just like Merab. He's a machine. He's got that 5-round experience times 5. I can't even believe that. Is it times 6 now? Oh no, it's crazy. And so somehow he's gone from being such a reliable main event performer to relegated to the early prelims. It's fine. He can really take a beating. We love that about him. He's got a head of cement. He's a crisp boxer, but it's a little bit wild, so maybe crisp isn't the word, but it's active. He mixes in the kicks, especially since the Bobby Knuckles fight, because, those are his words, right? Because, about Bobby Knuckles, he's got some nasty kicks, and they really slowed down Marvin, and he felt that, and he was feeling, from his perspective, like a little bit of a hole in his game was potentially exposed there. So he's been focused on the kicks ever since Bobby, and I have definitely seen that in his evolution. He's getting kicky. He's getting very kicky lately. I love that for him. So watch out for the Marvin kicks. They're making their way into the arsenal. He's very, very game, right? He's always going to take the fight, whether it's short notice, whether it's Paulo Costa, 20 pounds heavy. Doesn't matter. He's going to say yes, and we love that about him. Again, that's why he should not be relegated to the early prelims. What are we doing? It's because he was rolling for a while, right? He was doing good. Not that kind of rolling. The good, the safe and family-friendly type of rolling. He was doing very well, but he's been pretty up and down since the Izzy Split loss, Hasn't been able to pick up a major stride, but every single one of his losses, of course, are to absolute dogs. Absolute dogs. Only the best competition for our friend Marvin. He went dark for 2024, It's been a little rough in the life stuff, but here he is trying to get back his win streak. And he is such a fight of the night, performance of the night type. I mean, he's got 4 total, definitely puts on a show. And he is going against the Hulk, BJJ black belt Bruno Ferreira, who is coming off of a pretty nasty armbar win against Jackson McVeigh. Said, sir, you are not going to make me into a stepping stone. I'm on my own way. I'm on my own journey. Not happening. And he's got some heavy hands. That's the thing. And the real thing is that he lives life in round 1. Very different from our friend Marvin, who is a bit of a decision grinder. Bruno is 12 out of 15 of his total wins are in round 1. That's a lot as far as his round 1 lifestyle. Okay, so he's usually going well for him if it ends early. And none of his wins in general have been in round 3 or decision. Doesn't know the world of decision. Swings really big. The hands can go down. But he has been able to rely on that power a lot because it is some nasty stuff. I suspect this will be one of the fights that isn't exactly pretty. I'm not sure it's going to be pretty, like a technical battle of technique. I think it's going to be Bruno Ferreira coming on gas and looking to get the knockout on Marvin, who has proven to be one of the most durable people we've ever even, so this is going to be really fun in that sense. It's going to be really fun because Bruno is going to be looking to finish Marvin, and Marvin is going to be looking to put that head of cement to some good work. Pretty excited, and you know what? I feel like Marvin, because he can get angry, right? He can get angry. He can get sassy. I think he's gonna have a little bit of the chip on his shoulder, as he should, and he'll be really looking to stand firm on that number 14 spot. This is gonna be good, but I just think it's gonna be a bit ugly. And then we have the prelims. Great fight to start out the prelims. We got Nazim Sadikov versus Farid Zaim. This lightweight bout where we've got murder on our minds. AK-47, Mac 11s, Glocks, and 9s. That's what I would say about Nazim Sadikov. He's got murder on his mind. So he's been a martial artist since birth, the Black Wolf. He's also Brooklyn's own Spider-Man. Let's not get into it. Let's save that for a later date. Right now he's coming off of a fight of the night right hook win over Nicholas Mota. That was crazy. That was technical. That was blood and war. Until it ended. Really, really fun stuff. Nazim Sadikov's thing about him, he is on a hot streak right now. He is undefeated in the UFC. He is just got that one draw. He is 4-0. It has been looking fresh. He's got a very calm presence. He makes a lot of adjustments. He is reading you, studying you, refers to himself as dialed in. I agree. And with that 90% finish rate, he's looking for the kill. It's in those eyes, okay? Look at his eyes. When you see him in the cage, you'll see it. He's got murder on his mind. Not everybody has that in their eyes, but yeah, Nazim definitely does. Another thing about him, coming from the horse's mouth, he does not like to be taken down. He does not. He wants to strike. He wants to get busy. He wants to get busy with the striking. And he's looking to lock in his place in this division, and oh, is he on his way. He'll be going against the Smile Killer, who is just a little bit ahead in his UFC journey, 7-2. He's got a kickboxing background, so he's going to be, I suspect, doing exactly what Nazim wants him to do, which is stand it up. He's coming off a decision win of Mike Davis, and he was supposed to fight Kawe Fernandez in September, but I think he had to pull out because of injuries, so I hope he's all right. He's on a 5-fight win streak right now. He has never been knocked out. He likes to get right in there. 75% of his losses are subby. He definitely prefers to stand, but at the same time, he's down for the ground. Like when he goes there, he doesn't look scared. He looks like he's having fun. He's really accurate. He's very locked in, definitely conserving the strikes. Really, really hitting his targets on cue. Super tall guy, but again, ready to be in close. So he's not a tall guy that has to fight at a distance. He'll get right up in your face. This one is the murder on our minds bout. This is going to be really, really fun. Nazim Sadikov, one of my favorite fighters. I just think he is so fun, so cool. And he is such a interesting style. His boxing is very, very crisp, and he's all about that uppercut on the sneak, and you know how we feel about uppercuts on the sneak. That's the best. And Farid Zaim, again, a perfect matchup. They're just going to get really nasty, really gritty with it, get right up in each other's grill, I suspect, and we have a potential fight of the night on our hands with this one. Both guys on about the same UFC streak, right? With Farid coming in with a 5-fight win streak, Nazim coming in with a 4-fight win streak in the UFC, but it's been a longer time since Nazim has lost. He has lost his pro debut and has not lost since. This is a really exciting matchup. I really think, like I said, maybe fight of the night. And then Macy Barber finally makes her return against Karine Silva for a women's flyweight bout in the top 10. So it was pretty scary stuff when Macy, the future Barber, was pulling out of the fight just minutes before it was supposed to happen with her fight with Erin Blanchfield. That was really scary. So walkout was about to ensue. And when it's something like that, it can never be something neutral, right? It's something pretty bad. So health related, right? Of course. And really hoping that she's okay because it's been a bit of a cancellation 101. It's been a bit of a cancellation 101 for different reasons. But before her fight was canceled with Erin Blanchfield, this past May. Her fight with Rose was canceled, which I think that was in November of last year. So she has not actually fought since March of last year against Chukagian, which was a decision win for her. Pretty cool, pretty impressive. She has never been finished. Maycee Barber is very, very tough, and she is on a 6-fight win streak, but we have had that limited activity, so we are so excited to have her back. We have not seen her in approximately a year and a half, and the only losses that she has accrued are to absolute dogs. So Maycee Barber has definitely proven herself to deserve that number 5 spot, and she is walking her way to that title. Let's go. We're trying to hit it into a run. Let's start running at it. So Alexa Grasso and Roxanne Modafferi were the only 2 fighters to get the better of her. Makes a lot of sense. Those are 2 legends. Shout out Roxanne Modafferi. Shout out. Miss her. She's great. Maycee is a bit of a sassy miss. She's definitely willing to talk trash. She's got the silver tongue there. And she can also do a Rubik's Cube, which I think is cool. I cannot do that. I would characterize her octagon energy as very impatient if you are slow moving. She's definitely going to press if her opponent is not, so she's going to make it an exciting fight. She is going against Karine Silva, who is coming off of an interesting fight against Yoni Barbosa, which was actually a sneaky little rematch when they met on the regional scene back in 2019. It seemed there that Barbosa had the ground advantage, and there were a lot of moments during that fight where it looked like Barbosa was having pretty strong success on the ground. But Silva did come out with the decision win after that fight, which is rare considering that 90% of her wins are finishes. So she's very much so a finisher, pretty evenly split, which is very, very exciting stuff. So she is both powerful and she is crafty on the ground. So even though in her last fight she was looking a little bit less like she was in control, Yoni Barbosa is also extremely solid on the ground. So yes, Karine Silva, she's got that sub ready to go. And her only loss in the UFC is a very competitive decision fight between Vivian Araújo. So she is always going to put up a competitive fight. You'll see her moving laterally. She is newly a part of the Fighting Nerds crew, and you can get that sense with her studying her foes actively as the fight goes on. I suspect that this one will start out with Karine being tentative because she likes to study and she'll be looking to see the gaps in Maycee's movement, like where she's got her opening, where she can get in there, and then she will be looking to capitalize that in the later rounds and use those very, very heavy fists because she is very, very strong. Looking to see if Maycee does, in fact, get impatient. She has described herself that way, as being impatient if her opponents are moving slow. Like, she's like, let's get the show on the road. Let's get it on the road. I'm ready to run, not walk. So I expect Maycee to be pushing the pressure in this fight. And it'll be interesting because I think Maycee really likes to get the wrestling in as well, mix it up. And I'm wondering if she will be going for that or if she's going to embrace a chaotic stand-up match. I think we could get a little bit mixy in this one. We could get a little mixy, but I do expect Maycee to be putting on the pressure and Karine to be looking for her moment within that, play more of the counter-striker in this fight, but we shall see. And then we have an exciting lightweight matchup with Terrence McKinney and Chris Duncan. Terrence McKinney, T-Rex, get it? That's awesome. I love that so much. It's a really fun nickname because it's like T-Rex. Okay, I don't need to explain that. You get it. Anyway. He's from Dana White's Contender Series, and he's been here since 2021, trying to make his way to the top 15, right? He was there, I think, and then we got... Anyway, he's coming off of a Mount Gilly win over Borshev. That was pretty good. That was pretty impressive. He actually has the fastest lightweight KO in UFC history. Bang, bang. Okay, he's bang, bang about it. He's got 16 round 1 finishes. That is where he is the most dangerous. That is his reputation. He goes in on the ground strike. So if he gets you to the ground, he is absolutely going to unleash. He's going to unload. He's never been to a decision. He's a tornado. He's an absolute tornado. Sub and knockout is split 50-50, so, tornado energy, right? You never know what you're going to get. He wants to make his opponents nervous, really likes to capitalize on his opponent's risks, so look out for that, right? To create the chaos and then have them respond with their own chaos, and they go, oh, find his moment. So, yes. And outside of the octagon, and in, I guess, he's looking to live life as a role model, and his mother is his role model. And he'll be going against Chris the Problem Duncan, always a fun fighter to watch. Speaking of fun, he's coming off of an amazing Fight of the Night decision win with Ratush Trombeski. You know how it is. Okay, you know how it is. That was blood, that was war, that was incredible. What a fight. What a fight. So he's on a 3-fight win streak. He recently joined American Top Team. And we have a lot of American top team athletes showcasing this weekend, so that's pretty cool. And he's really been leveling it up since then, in his words. That's really changed his game a lot. He's a finisher. He has 50% of his wins via knockout and 21% in sub, so barely a decision. He has got a really wide stance, but he's a toe-to-toe type, so it's very scary. It's very stocky, but at the same time, he's right up in there. He is, I'd say, a little bit more on the counter-striking end, but he's always going to pepper a little bit of lead offense in addition to that, but I can see it in his eyes, again, that he likes to counter. He loves the ghillie, so two out of three of his most recent wins are via guillotine. Okay. He really appreciates the crowd because he's big on energy. He's big on energy. We talked a little bit about the internal voice with Mansour Abdul-Malik, but Chris Duncan, he's all about that internal voice as well. He's a very mindful guy, listening to himself, feeding off the energy. And he is ready to fight anyone. Definitely the type of guy that's not going to say no to anybody. This is really exciting, really exciting. This is another fight that, watch out. If we get enough action, it could be fight of the night. Could be a performance of the night, though, if it ends pretty quickly. It could, given our stats, right? A lot of things happening in round one for Terrence McKinney, Chris Duncan, so tough. I think this one is going to be a lot of fun. We got a tornado, T-Rex, the problem. I know that these guys are going to make this a really fun fight, and I suspect that it's going to have a pretty strong pace too. Like, we're going to get a lot of output. We're going to get a lot of nasty strikes landed. Yes, very, very exciting. Both these guys, super, super, super fun, and they put on an incredible performance. I think we're going to come out guns a-blazing on this one. Like, it's just going to be go, 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 go until it's not. And then we have another lightweight matchup between Grant Dawson and Manuel Torres. Grant Dawson has been in the UFC since 2019 and has definitely proven himself with his 11-1-1 record. I mean, hello. He's coming off a decision win against Diego Ferreira, really shut him down in there, and he is a subist 101. I mean, 56% of his wins, and he is just all about that ground control. He's all about that grappling. That's where he's happy. It's where he feels safe, and he's looking for that safe, clean win. Definitely, and no secret there. Safe, clean win. His only UFC loss is to Bobby King Green. Yeah, and that was a bit ago. And again, definitely has proven himself with his record in the UFC. He's trying to be active. He's trying, but apparently it's been hard for him to book a fight, so that's why we're only going to get him one more time this year. Ideally, he would like to fight more than that, but hey, it is what it is. And like we said, he's looking for the ground. He is pretty excited about this matchup. He considers Manuel to be pretty elite danger, and I tend to agree. Manuel Torres, El Loco, and he is. Yep, that is a good name for him. He is 100% El Loco. Yeah, he is crazy in there. So he's 4-1 right now since joining the UFC, and is coming off of a pretty crazy knockout at Drew Dober. I mean, hello, against the old Dopester. And Dober's tough, so you really got to have lead in your hands to knock him out. That's the thing about Torres, is that all of his UFC wins are finishes, and in general, he has 8 wins via knockout, 7 via submission, so he is on it. Okay, he is on it, and he's looking to get crazy quickly. His only loss in the UFC is a knockout via the old, previously mentioned Bahamondes, Ignacio, and that's one tough cookie. So we can let that slide. He's very decision rare. He's only been there once. Doesn't really know the life of decision, and you'll feel that. You'll feel that immediately because he is very twitchy, very jabby. He's very let's go. And you know what we love about Torres is that he's got 4 performance of the night bonuses, which if you do the math, that's all of his wins. Okay, every one of his wins is a performance of the night. He's ready for war, and that is pretty cool stuff. Living and dying by the sword. Okay? Living and dying by the sword. We got a bit of clash of styles, right? We got a bit of differing motives. Different things that these fighters are going to be looking for. Grant Dawson, he's going to be looking to wrap it up. Keep it safe, keep it clean. Manuel Torres, he's going to be looking to go El Loco. He's going to be trying to go El Loco, make this as nasty as possible, and I am very excited to see how that goes, right? Is Grant Dawson going to be able to neutralize the locomotive, the crazy town? Really, really anticipating this one. I'm just so curious to see how this goes because, Grant Dawson could come out with the clean, safe decision win, but I have a feeling if he's going to want to get that win, he's going to have to get crazy with it. And I hope we do get crazy with it, because what is a feature prelim if not to get us hyped up for the main card. And I think this one could do just that. Right, Torres has the record with all those performance bonuses, and Grant Dawson, I feel, is definitely hungry since he hasn't fought since January. So this should be fun. And that means we made it to the main card, to our fly bantam banana bonanza. But before our flyweight and bantamweight spotlight, we got to get an amazing light heavyweight bout out there with Jan Blachowicz, number 5, against Bogdan Gustav. Jan Blachowicz is classic. We love the Polish power. He's been in the UFC for a while now. He made his debut in 2014. So I have only known a world with Jan Blachowicz. And what a world that is. What a world it is. He is so incredible. We love this man. He's coming off a decision loss right now to Carlos Oberg. You know, Carlos Oberg, he's been looking good. He's been looking technical. And that's the tricky situation, is that it's been a little bit since our friend Jan has gotten the win. I mean, his last win was in 2022, but within that, we have a split loss to Alex and a draw to Magomed. So, that is a little frustrating, right? But that's the thing, is that's what happens when you fight greats. Sometimes you get some tricky outcomes. But we cannot forget the Polish power. The Polish power will be powering. I mean, 9 wins via knockout. He's got 9 wins via sub that often happen after being battered. And then we got 11 decisions in there. He is a very well-rounded martial artist, and we see that. And we saw his well-roundedness, especially in his fight against Izzy. That was a great classic moment, right? We remember that. He's pretty into rear naked chokes in terms of the subby, so might be on his radar. And like we said, he can do it all. Usually if you're going to outdo him, you got to drag him to a nasty decision. He's a really big fan of The Witcher. He loves movies and fantasy and all that kind of stuff. And, he's really looking for that Christmas bonus. And as always, he's one of the guys who definitely loves it in there. So he's going to be looking to have some fun. He'll be looking to have some fun against Bogdan Gustav, who is been putting on some scary performances. I mean, coming off of a nasty round 1 knockout of Nikita Krylov. I mean, and he has 1 loss in each category, so has been proven to be pretty solid. No major glaring holes there yet. He's a knockout kind of guy, 83% of his wins, and we got 11 of those in round 1. Yikes. I think we got a bit of a case of power versus power, and you can see it. It's like a blunt force level trauma in those fists, some nasty stuff. Definitely on his way to proving himself in the UFC, and I think this will be a really, really big moment for him, depending on what happens, because Jan Blachowicz, notorious gatekeeper of the division, right? Yes, he is. Gatekeeper to top 5. Elite gatekeeper. Yeah, Bogdan is pretty crafty. He splits his strikes pretty well between the head and the body. He's got a very, very fun boxing style, super strong in the boxing, and we've seen him overcome some pretty crazy ground adversity. So Billy Alicana was getting the better of him. He was looking like a wet blanket. I mean, dragging him to some yucky waters on the ground. But then lo and behold, beholden lo. Right? Beholden lo. He pulled the old switcheroo and he got to submission win. So that was pretty cool. And that was good to see. Overcoming the adversity and kind of getting bullied on the ground to find his moment. He stayed locked in. And as always, him and Anthony are separated from birth, right? When did that happen? It's long lost twins, but it's okay because they are reunited again, as pictured. Really fun start to the main card. I'm kind of scared. I'm a little scared of this one. Like, what's going to happen? Oh, I'm scared because Bogdangrad, really, really scary, but you cannot forget about the Polish power of Jan Blachowicz, even though we haven't seen the Polish power fully powering, manifesting its way to a knockout in a little bit. We know it's there. We know he's capable of it. And I just love how well-rounded Jan Blachowicz is. It'll be fun to see how he deals with Bogdan's very boxing-heavy style. I'm curious, will Jan be looking to get it to the ground? Find some dominance there? This will be a very, very elite way to start the main card. Really, really excited about this one, for sure. And then we have a bantamweight matchup between Peyton Talbot and Henry Cejudo. Really big moment for Peyton Talbot. Henry Cejudo. He's cringy, he's corny. We love him. He is a legend for sure. Olympic gold medalist back in the day. He's the first Olympic gold medalist to also become a UFC champion. It's happened again since then. And he is also a double champ, formally. Flyweight and bantamweight. Pretty crazy feat. And he is one of the youngest wrestling Olympic champions at only 21 years old. So it was all the way back in 2008, but he was a very young man at the time. So he has entered himself into the Wrestling Hall of Fame. That's really, really cool. Right now, he's coming off of a bit of unfortunate, as we recall, a little eye poke situation to Song Yadong. So eye poke ended the fight. Dang it. The old eye pokes will never escape. So he's on a 3-fight losing streak. So it hasn't been looking too fresh since coming out of retirement. He retired in 2020 and then came back. I knew it was. I knew when he gave his old speech. I figured that was not the last time we were going to see him. Yeah, he's got a couple performance of the night bonuses under his belt. And all of his losses are to really strong competition. And his 10-5 record has some really interesting matchups throughout the years. Really, really fun stuff. Henry Cejudo, always and forever a classic. He has got a handful of knockout wins and then really grinds you out to decision. He's super athletic, so keeps the activity up, keeps the pace, mixes in that really dominant wrestling. He's got a lot of strength to him. He's got a really big family. He also has a degree in theology, so he's a studier. He's an academic. He's a weirdo. And, there's no bad blood in this one. He can be a little sassy, but in this one, it's good vibes. Him and Peyton have actually trained together, but he is definitely still looking to spoil the party. And Peyton Talbot will be coming in with a bit of restored faith. So after, he's had the spotlight on him. Okay, spotlight has been on him. It has been on him since joining the UFC. He's 4-1. Right now coming off of a win against Andre Lima, who was undefeated, riding a very, very strong streak. And it was an amazing comeback for Peyton. He was able to look so much more in control in the grappling exchanges. He is a Uriah Faber prodigy, so that, amongst many other things, have, really had the lens on him, and he's a very charismatic person. So he's definitely being thrown to the wolves again and again, and maybe not so much. Well, no, Henry Cejudo, he's still a wolf. He's got that dog in him, But yeah, ever since Raoni Barcelos' loss, people really doubted him, because he was totally shut down in that fight. But the thing about Barcelos is he's a veteran. Okay, the thing about Barcelos is he has been looking pretty dang good. So calling him a fraud and all that nonsense because of his first professional loss I always knew was pretty silly, but definitely looked good in his last fight. So here we are now. He is definitely a finisher. He has got 80% of his wins via finish and most of them via knockout, 70%. So just, a sub in there. Yep. And he's never been finished. So his only loss was that, nasty, grindy, kind of got laid on. You could tell martial arts is definitely an art for him, and he's somebody who smiles at the pain, so I like to see that. And he's also into pole fitness, which is really cool, and that'll definitely get you in shape. This is really interesting because, Peyton Talbot was getting a lot of slack. I'm pretty sure he was the underdog in the last fight because people are like, oh, boo, against Barcelos. And now he's coming in as the favorite. Makes sense given Henry Cejudo's current losing streak. But pretty curious, right? How the tides can change so much. Peyton is the really tall, really long guy in this fight. So curious how he's going to use that or if he's going to use that. You never know what's going to happen with Henry Cejudo. You never know. You never know what he's going to do. And that's what's kind of exciting about this fight for me is I don't know. This one gives me the old I don't knows. I don't know. How do you think this fight is going to go? Let me know. Because with Henry Cejudo, I really just feel like I don't know. And then we have a very exciting flyweight matchup that really could be its own main event. Brandon Moreno against Tatsuro Taira. Brandon Moreno, the assassin baby. He is so much fun. One of my favorite fighters. He made his UFC debut in 2016. Me too. As a viewer, as a fan. And he was the LFA flyweight champion after getting cut from the UFC. So he had a run and then was cut. After just 2 losses, they said, see ya, you're not good enough, crazy stuff. And he believed himself. He went to LFA. He dominated, came back, tough. And then he had his debut while Tough was still airing. Oh, that's a bit of a scheduling what. Anyway, he's a record setter. He's the first ever UFC champion who is a Mexicano. What a moment. Oh my gosh. I was bawling my eyes out. And he is a 2-time champ, so he's clawed his way back to the top. Lost the belt to Pantoja via splitty. And he's 0-3 to Alex overall. So pretty tough situation, right? When if Pantoja is the holder of the belt and you're Brandon Moreno, right? How do we get back there, right? Okay. He's also a 2-time Mexico City headliner. Vamos, right? So let's keep that up. He is got that vicious cardio with the submission game. It's crazy. I love it. 50% of his wins via submission. With Brandon Moreno, it's entertainment guaranteed. 100%. It's entertainment guaranteed with this guy. He's absolutely ready for war. We always got to remember the epic 4-fight series with Figgy. It's never been done before. It's never been done. It's never been done until then. And he's a bit of an avid collector, to say the least. Some might say addict, somebody call Funko Pops Anonymous. And he's one of my favorites, definitely on my top 5 favorite active fighters. Brandon Moreno is just so fun. He's got a beautiful soul, doesn't he? He's got a beautiful soul, and he really puts that beautiful soul on display in the cage. We love it. If you're interested in his mind, check out Entre Asaltos. That's the MMA podcast that he's featured on. And it's Brandon Moreno. We are excited. He'll be going against Tatsuro Taira. Young in the game, but he is number 5 because he has been putting on performance after performance. Yards difference. It was a run through. So since joining the UFC in 2022, he has amassed a record of 7-1, and his only loss is an incredible fight. A fight of the night fight. A 5-round performance against the elite Brandon Royval. And what a performance it was. Says he's learned a lot since then. It's true that Tatsuro can definitely handle an intense amount of pressure, and he puts on his own pressure when he's feeling ready for it. So he is extremely suffocating on the ground. So 40% of his wins via submission, but just in general, the way that he is on the ground, it is just absolute control. And whether we're standing or we're on the ground, he's looking to sneak an elbow in. Oh, here's the one on the sneak. Oh, on the sneak. Give it the old circle. He loves the elbow. So definitely when he is being super controlling it on the ground, he is both threatening the submission and getting in some nasty ground strikes. So he is just so exciting to watch. And that's why he's got a huge fan base, because he is one exciting fighter. A lot of power in those hands. But again, the submission threat is there. He is, talk about complete. And he has never been finished. So again, his only loss is a split loss that is just an absolute 5-round war. Really bared his soul out there. And as mentioned, he's going to take his time a little bit because he's a defensive fighter. He's a defensive fighter, and he's looking to get scrambled eggs with it, right? He's going to want to scramble. I am so excited about this fight because oh my gosh, these are some of the most elite flyweights that we have got in the UFC, period. It is destiny that they meet, and this is going to be so much fun. I really think both of these guys have a very, very complete game, and it is going to look so complete. You know how we're often saying cats rolling around in the grass? That's what we're going to get with this one, I think. I think it's going to be a very, very fun, completely MMA battle. Like, we're going to see everything. We'll be up, we'll be down, we'll be all around, and it is going to be an insane pace. I am so, so, so excited about this fight. Oh my gosh. And both just in a very, different position. At this point, Brandon Moreno, veteran status. And Tatsuro Taira, he is on the come up, and again, just been looking so incredible. His last performance, he really proved that it's time for some Brandon Moreno competition. Yes, this is just so exciting. Let me know if you're as jazzed up about this fight. This may be my most anticipated fight outside of the co-main and main. So we've made it to our co-main event, which could stand all on its own as a main event. Alexandre Pantoja, champion of the flyweights, going against Joshua Van, who has worked his way to that number 1 spot. Pantoja's everything. Cannibal. The Cannibal, absolutely. He is a tough 24 champion. Been here since 2017 and has been rocking his way. We never thought that Demetrius Johnson would have a contender for most dominant flyweight in UFC history, but hey. He's carving his way. Yeah. Right now he's coming off of a pretty crafty, quickie, nasty rear naked choke win over Kai Kara France, and that was his second Kai in a row. He stopped the Kai Sakura hype train, the first person to ever make their UFC debut to fight for a belt. At least I think that's true. And that's 2 Kais in a row. I'm done with Kais, he says. I'm done with Kais. Give me a Joshua. Give me a Joshua. That's so... So he is the number 1 flyweight in the world. Alexandre Pantoja is a legend, 100%. 8-fight win streak, 4 title defenses. Hi, hello, how are you? Hi, hello, how are you? Yeah. The thing about him that we all know is that he's got something special inside of him, but it's just so hard to pin down. Like, how do you even describe what it is about Pantoja that makes him so special in there? And I would say that it comes back to how he describes his fighting style as freedom, right? You can tell he is so free in there. He's so complete. He's never been finished, so he just is heart, soul, durability, fighting spirit for sure. He is a choker, okay? We know that about him, don't we? Oh my word. 8 rear naked chokes. He's got a specialty, doesn't he? Yeah, coming off one right now. Wasn't it 2 in a row? Anywho, it's been half a decade since this man has lost. He has not tasted defeat in a while, and we love him. We love him because he puts on such an incredible performance. He is the cannibal in there. He just fights with I don't know, such a sense of spirit. You feel his spirit. And maybe because he has had just so much to push for. Recalling the beginning of his title reign, I mean, what an incredible classic. That fight against Brandon Moreno, that splitty itty was so incredible. And that moment where he gets emotional on the mic is just so beautiful. You know, you feel a little parasocial, right? Get a little teary-eyed. It was very beautiful to see him get that success, and he has just been on a freaking tear. He's been so dominant. And he'll be going against Joshua Van, who is, depending on what happens, he could be Fighter of the Year 2025. Am I right? Because Joshua Van has been looking exactly as his name describes. Fearless. So he has made his UFC debut in 2023, but has been 8-1. Right now he's coming off of a Fight of the Night decision win against the aforementioned Brandon Royval, who gave Tatsuro Taira a nasty, gritty, 5-round, just horror show. Yeah? Well, Joshua Van was able to get the decision win. Stepped in short notice, and that was really, that was such an incredible performance. That is really what solidified that he is the next one to challenge. That is why he's here right now, because that was a beautiful performance against Royval. To also do that, stepping in short notice for UFC 317, coming off of 316. What in the world? That he is so fast and he is riding that hype wave. He has got activity like I've never even seen. Okay, well, not never, but, well, kind of. It's activity 101. His amount of strikes that he both throws and lands is incredible. He is so accurate, and for some reason, he can just keep them pumping, looking fresh, looking fearless. So he is on a 5-fight win streak now, has never lost a decision. So that output and that activity, it's serving him well because, again, the accuracy is there. So that output, it's landing. It's not just throwing out there into the wind. It's landing. And for a good reason, he's his own favorite fighter. Alexandre Pantoja and Merab Dvalishvili are the two most dominant UFC champions that we have right now. Alexandre Pantoja, though, is facing a young, hungry, new test. And wow, is this one going to be fun. I have a feeling that if Pantoja isn't going to go for his rear naked choke or isn't going to able to land that one successfully, that we are going to find ourselves in a nasty, gritty decision. I think we got a late night in our hands. I think this is going to be a late night. Jimmy thinks so too. Yes, we got a late night on our hands. It's just going to be, I suspect that this is going to go all 5 rounds. And wow, I am just so excited to see how Joshua Van stacks up against the legendary Pantoja, who has been really looking like there's nobody who's got anything for him. So really excited about this fight. It's really hard to doubt Pantoja after what he's been doing, but at the same time, Joshua Van's last win against Brandon Royval specifically, that's really got me thinking. So very curious to know your thoughts. Like, what in the world is going to happen with this one? What in the heck? Do you think that it's going to go all 5 rounds? And how do you foresee it going? Because that's the thing about it. If it goes to decision, Joshua Van has never lost a decision. What? This is just going to be so much fun. We're hyped. And no matter what happens, it's 2 really cool guys who really deserve it. And then finally, we have the bantamweight belt on the line. The other most dominant UFC champion, Merab Dvalishvili, against the former foe he will meet again, Petr Yan. Merab Dvalishvili, he's one of those fighters that, had to take the old Bilal Muhammad route, right? He had to claw his way. To the top, and it was a bit of a weird moment, right? When Aljo was the holder of the belt, and they were and are still BFFs. It was getting complicated, but luckily we never had to face that. So the Machine, we've got a few machines, but he is the Machine, has a black belt in judo, and we see a lot of those throws. And that sambo, oh my goodness, this man, he's got it all. He does have it all, including a 14-fight win streak. And this is his 4th time fighting this year. Pretty crazy stuff. Can he handle it? Of course he can. He loves it. It's crazy stuff, though, to think about fighting 4 times a year, and specifically to fight 4 times a year as a champion. We got 5 rounders in there. What in the... Pretty crazy stuff. but he has proven his cardio and his quirkiness just create a beautiful wrestling foundation, and he is willing to shoot the takedown right until it's over, because he's got the most takedowns in UFC history, and that is going to be a hard record to beat. Yikes. And as mentioned, he's not the person the UFC was rooting for. Really had to claw his way to the top. Not exactly the narrative they were pushing, but simply could not be denied, and now really can't be denied. He is the decision type guy. I mean, 76% of his wins, absolutely just rolling the floor with his opponents as if they are mops. He's all control, all tempo. He keeps that dance party going all the way until the end. He also likes making skits and being funny, and will eat raw eggs plus the shell. Ugh. He really believes that Pyotr makes the most sense for him, which is interesting. But, of course he thinks that because he broke his own personal record last time with significant strikes landed. So, he did quite well. And it was interesting, it was a 5-round fight but even though no one was champ. It was 5 rounds main event style. Merab was number 3 and Pyotr was number 2. Things have changed. Pyotr no mercy Jan, he's quite happy, I imagine, to be in this position. And it makes sense, in a way. You could make a case for it. He's been in the UFC since 2018, has fought some really good competition. He's coming off of a pretty dominant decision win over Marcus McGee, and he's on a 3-fight win streak that include wins over Figgy and Yadong. I mean, okay, that's some strong stuff. The old Figgy and the old Yadong, those are no scrubs. So after beating top level competition and getting that 3-fight win streak, made a case for himself that he's ready for that rematch. Merab is actually his last loss, and in general, he's only lost to the greats. He is a very durable fighter. He's never been finished. And like Merab, he can put on a pretty good pace for the entire fight, and so therefore hitting the decision grind quite often, with 57% of his wins going there. Uriah Faber was the moment we all knew. Again, the collective consciousness, I know you all agree with me constantly, but I knew. But I just feel like when he got the win over Uriah Faber, it was like, yes, let's not doubt this man. He is something quite interesting, because obviously Uriah Faber has got a very deep martial arts mind. We gotta mention the disqualification knee, because that was a sad one. That's a little unfortunate mark. But I'd say that his best moment thus far is winning the interim belt over Sandhagen, where he put on a incredibly technical performance. That was incredible. He picked him apart. He studied Sandhagen like he was a book that he's read front to cover, all in the span of the fight. He discovered his weaknesses and he capitalized on them. Really, really cool. And he definitely has picked up a reputation for himself of acting like a computer, studying and making live adjustments. And that's what makes him such a fascinating fighter to watch, is you can really sense that. The O'Malley fight, split decision loss, there's a bit of drama there, and he really brings that complete fighter energy. And he is looking to kind of change the narrative compared to their last meeting, and he wants to be first in this fight, first to get it going. It's going to be pretty hard to be first against Merab, because Merab, he's first, usually. Yeah, that's kind of his thing, is that he's overwhelming, So the first fight, their first meeting, it was very much so a 50-45. Yeah, he got shoved out. Pyotr got a bit shoved out. He was looking tough, and to his credit, never discouraged. That was a pretty cool thing to see from Pyotr Jan, is that his soul was not deterred. So he was forced to fight fast, whereas Pyotr Jan typically likes to take at least the first round to do that data collection, to really study you, and then therefore pick you apart. But you know how Merab is. He doesn't know a slow start, so it was guns a-blazing. We were right in it, so there was really no opportunity to do that data collection, and the only thing that, you could really feel is, I'm overwhelmed, he's overwhelming me, because it's just blitz. Merab also did a really good job working in the calf kicks whenever Pyotr was trying to move forward. He was like, chop, and ow, it looked like it was starting to hurt, and then the takedown, and then it's blitz, and as DC put it in that fight, he just drags you to that dark place. Oh no, he took me to the dark place. He called it that dark place, like it's a reoccurring place that he brings people, because it so is. And it was a really great pace fight. It did still feel like a war, even though it was 50-45, and there was a lot of moments of control, and just in general, Pyotr was pretty pushed out. You got to give Pyotr Jan his credit for making it a great pace and making it still a pretty fun fight. So I'm pretty excited to see if he really is going to take, I guess, a bit of a different approach and beat Merab to the punch, to the takedown, really. Because that is just such a hard thing to do, and no one has really been able to do it. And in general, it seems like Marab is a nightmare in particular for strikers, for people who really get it going into striking. And again, in their first appearance, Marab at the time had passed his, at the time, could be still, his record for significant strikes in a fight. So he did have a lot of success in the striking as well. So a bit curious, very curious to know your thoughts about how you think this one is going to go, and if you feel like it's actually going to look different from their first fight. I'm hoping it looks different. I want to see a little bit more of a competitive scrap, even though it was a really good fight. Don't get me wrong. But again, still a 50-45. So, yeah, that's the story. That is the rundown. We got so many wild matchups for the last pay-per-view of 2025 with Marvin Vettori on the early prelims. Oh. There are so many fights to look forward to. Can't even pick one, but I've got murder on my mind. Let me know what fight you're most looking forward to and any of your thoughts about anything at all. Anything you feel like you're just so sure is gonna happen. Things you don't know. Anything really, just let me know. We love all the input here. Here is our song of the night. So much fun. And that is, I think, all that I've got. Peace out.